Hello, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today we're talking budget. Budget from the likes of CMF, which is, of course, the offset company of Nothing. And that is a company made by Carl Pei, and I have been a huge fan of his work so far. And these two devices, they released a couple of these about 10 days ago, and I'm very excited to have got hold of some of the retail versions. This is not from them, it's not sponsored in any way, but I did want to talk to you about budget devices done right. And I have been really impressed by what they've done here. So we have got the Watch Pro 2 and the CMF Phone 1. So this is the first iteration of the phone and the second iteration of the Watch Pro. And let's talk first of all about the phone. So this device came in, first of all, light green. What I like about this is that they've named it very simply. They haven't gone for pearlescent or floaty green. They've literally just called it light green. I actually really like it. I've seen no one else on the internet with this color, actually, funny enough, because it comes in two other colors, which is their signature orange and black, which I thought was really boring. So I have been really pleased with this coloring. And I have to say, first and foremost, first impressions, aside from the design features, which we'll talk about in a moment, the soft feel touch. This is clearly a plastic case, but it's kind of a plastic silicone that's got a very soft feel. As you can see, absolutely no fingerprints whatsoever. Comfortable in the hand, quite rounded corners, so it's got a good grip to it, but it is absolutely, surprisingly, much better quality and nicer to hold than you might expect or at first glance anyway. So let's talk about the design. So moving our way around, from the back, probably the most standout feature, we've got these screws here because this is a modable phone. This is one of the few phones that are now available on the wide market where you can actually change certain aspects. And I love that CMF are doing this because I used to love modding my phones, and that would allow you to make certain changes. Obviously, changing your battery was one thing that you could do. Now, some of the bigger reviewers have received whole packs of stuff where they can change the backs, they can change aspects of this. This is actually unscrewable altogether, and it even comes with a built-in a screwdriver in the box, but it does not come with a screwdriver if you just buy the retail version. So if you buy a replacement back, then you'll get the screwdriver and you'll get the new back in whatever color you order along with one of these. But this allows you to add certain mods like a kickstand, which I think is a genius idea. Really, really clever. Not something I've been able to get hold of yet, but I think it's a really good start. And we're talking budget. We haven't even got to the price yet, and I will share that with you soon, so stick around. Now, continuing the design, we've got a very standout feature of the cameras, which are obviously not going to be the most amazing cameras, but in good daylight, they are perfectly acceptable. So definitely no complaints whatsoever. Then working around the sides, we've got the power button on the left side there, quite small actually, smaller than normal for power buttons, and it is not a fingerprint reader. And then on the opposite side, we've got the volume rockers up and down, which in fairness also are quite close together and quite small, but you definitely learn where they are. And I like the fact that they have separated them as well. Working our way around to the front of the device. Now, if you're familiar with Nothing as a company or some of their phone devices, you're going to be very familiar with Nothing OS. This is the Nothing OS system working on the CMF phone, and I really like it. I've always liked the operating system. It's lightweight, it's quick, it's snappy. It's got this signature monotone or monochrome look. You can see this is what they look like when you've got it in as they wish, which is to keep it less distracting and more functional. And then of course you can have apps that don't match their UI, and obviously they look much more normal. So that is the OS version of Nothing looking in its primary state. It is a very, very lightweight operating or skin over Android 14. And it has updated twice since I've actually had it this week. I've only had it for about 5 days, and it really has been very surprisingly snappy. We've got Google if we scroll over to the left, as always. And for a budget device running a budget chip, This thing works. It just does everything you're going to want it to do. And the price, I'm going to reveal it now, is 200 euros. So you're not going to get the very best of things, like the best cameras, the fastest CPU, you're not going to get the best gaming, but it is absolutely functional. It really is. It works very, very well. It has plenty of screen brightness, so I can crank that right up there and you can see that very, very easily. And it works. I live in a very bright place and it works really, really well. And so for a budget device with the likes of competition like Samsung, for example, this is an absolute competitor and well worth considering. Now, as far as I understand, their main target market is India, but in fairness, this is useful anywhere you are. And I'm in Spain, so it really doesn't matter where you are. If you want a good budget phone, this is not a full review. You can't go far wrong with the CMF Phone 1. Now, I've also been rocking the watch, which I've also had for about 3 days. And again, this is modifiable. So if I show you, you have a click to release and you can change this top cover, which is great because actually this is the part that gets the most damage if you bang it on things, which you will, if you bang it on a surface, if you bang it against the door frame, which I frequently do with my smartwatches, you can just swap it out. You don't have to get a new watch and it will continue to protect it. There are 2 variations, because there's one that's got rounded edges like this, and there's another one with a sloping edge that's much sharper and looks pretty crispy as well. But it's it's modular, so we can just rotate and lift off, and it works really, really well. And the locking mechanism is actually surprisingly good. I thought it was a twist to lock, but it's actually much more engineered than that, as you can see inside the bezel there. So that is really cool, and again, continues to impress me. And it's actually not plastic, it's actually aluminium. And you want to get this the right way around, there we go. And you can tell that because you've got the little logo right there, which tells you CMF by nothing, and it's always on the bottom left-hand side. So in terms of functionality, you've got all the basics. You're going to have exercise records, heart rate, blood oxygen, activity tracking, stress, even menstrual cycles. I would highly recommend, particularly dudes, and most of my channel is dudes, I would highly recommend if you have a girlfriend that you track their cycle. There are many reasons why you might want to do that, but if you're an enlightened man, you definitely want to make sure that you're in tune with your wife or partner or girlfriend's cycle, because that will make your life a lot easier. Anyway, I digress. We've got world clock reminder. You can take phone calls through this device. It is not LTE, it is just Bluetooth, which is fine by me because I always connect it to my phone anyway. And you can take phone calls as well as dial numbers as well. So fully functional and surprisingly functional for the value. Again, the price of this, ridiculous, budget, 69 euros. That is next to nothing for what we're talking about, because if you just want basic but highly functional, this is going to work for you every time. And I really like the simplistic nature of the UI that you've got here on their system. And of course, you've got their signature watch faces, which actually have complications. So you can have more complicated watch faces, or you can have much simpler watch faces. Now, it has limited memory, so you can only load up about 8 watch faces at one time. But then again, who cares? Because you're going to be able to load them up from the phone anyway. So if you ever want to download a new one, there's a catalog, limited number again, but who needs more than 50 or 60 well-curated watch faces anyway? So these are actually really good to look at. Again, on a budget device, I really like some of the designs of these, and they are very, very cool indeed. So for the money involved, 69 euros for a young person, someone getting into smartwatches for the first time, you cannot go far wrong. This has come with genuine leather orange strap, but you can get other ones with silicone straps, and they come in black and white, or gray to be honest. And then again, you've got this top bezel, which is modifiable because you can take it off and replace it if you want to, use a different color and see if you can mix and match. It just has one push button there, which of course allows you to open it up or switch it on. And then of course you push it again, and it is a functioning scroll wheel, different to like the TicWatch, which I was very surprised didn't have, sorry, the OnePlus watch didn't have a functional rotating crown, which was very bizarre. this has a functional rotating crown, which I think is brilliant and the bare minimum really. And it is of course your back button, so it takes you back to the main screen whenever you want to. You've got your heart rate sensors on here, you've got a speaker here, you can receive all your notifications and you can respond basically as well. Battery life on this has actually been surprisingly good. I've had 5 days and I haven't charged it yet. So it's still running really, really well on 56%. So that has been really, really good. And I've done fitness tracking. On the phone, the battery life has been solid. Obviously, you're not going to get more than a day or a bit out of it, but I definitely got 1 day minimum out of it, and it does charge up nice and fast as well. It doesn't come with a charger in the box, that's a downer, but if you do have one of your own, obviously anything over 30 watts, this bad boy charges up in less than an hour. So it is very, very good and surprisingly good and well worth a try if you're looking to get something budget but quality. And this is the beauty of budget devices. They're getting cheaper but better, and that's what I really like to see, and that's what I'm really impressed by CMF from the likes of Carl Pei and the Nothing Company. If you've got any questions about this, or if you want to get hold of them yourself, please use my links below. I would love to have your feedback. If you've got one already or considering it, make sure you put a comment below. Otherwise, I'll see you very, very soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.